What's up, everybody? It is Sunday, February 18th, and it is episode 40 of One of a Kind with RVD. And guess who's here? It's Rob Van Dam. Rob,
no way, dude.
hey!
I am fantastic.
Great.
Feeling damn fine on a Sunday. We like to keep our viewers on their toes, keep
That's
them
right.
guessing when we're going to do a show.
That's right. We say 6 o'clock, but it could be a little after 6. That's all.
Well, I can tell you right now, because we usually do Thursdays, right?
Yep.
I happen to have traveling plans on this Thursday.
Oh.
Which usually I'm not able to talk about in advance, but it's all over the social media. People know I am booked Wednesday for AEW, so I'll be traveling home on Thursday. But it's only happened once that I've gotten booked this far in advance before by them. So 6-man tag coming up.
Yes, very exciting. Very exciting. It's we'll actually talk about that in a little bit. But Rob, what is there something else that's on your mind? Something else that's been you want to talk about?
You want to get back? You want to get back to that? Because I'm.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. Actually, I have that on tap. But there's something else. Yeah,
I figured. Yeah. Well, I was just, I watched a lot of YouTube. I wrote down a couple things I thought, I don't know, I'd bring them up, or I would. Or maybe blatantly like this, or maybe see if we can fit it in organically. But I don't know. Maybe I want to go through everything. I kind of ended up getting quite a big list, and stuff that's in the news I thought might be worth talking about. How about Scott D'Amore getting the boot?
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's something else actually I had on the list too to talk.
I figured if I did this, if you started with was on my mind, I figured I'd probably kill your list anyway. So right away, I thought maybe it's not a good idea. But anyway, I saw quite a bit on that, and the wrestlers seem to be so upset about it. They wrote a letter, I guess, to Anthem about their feelings. And so, Scott's, he's loved by the dressing room. Everybody seems to be giving him credit for anything good that's happened in the direction of TNA or Impact Wrestling, and I haven't heard any dirt about him. I haven't heard he got fired because of this or that. It's all just been about reorganizing the office, and so I just thought that was worth bringing up. I've known Scott for a long time, just like everybody in the business. I remember, actually, I worked him in Indiana one time. This would have been like between 96 and 98. Mm-hmm. Sabu was helping the guy that had taken over the USWA territory, at least part of it. Mike Samples was his name. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it does sound a little familiar. Yeah, Mike Samples. I'm going to Google him too.
Am I messing his last name up? I think that's his name. And anyway, he was running some of the towns, and Sabu was helping him, book guys. He brought me in. And Rip Rogers also was bringing guys in, and it was weird because there was literally a rope with a curtain that went down the dressing room, and there was Rip's guys and there was Sabu's guys, and they didn't agree on stuff. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was good guys, bad guys. It was more like they had separate ideas on how to help Mike out and how to build the territory, and they both had invested interest in doing that. And I was there, obviously, on Sabu's side, and I wrestled Scott D'Amore, this kid from Canada that Sabu knew. I don't know if he met him down there or if he met him somewhere else, but, just like always, get a good word in from Sabu, and that meant, we're on he's a good guy, you know what I mean? Reference went a long way. But he's the one that hired me when I went back to TNA the last time, in 2000. I guess it was 19. COVID, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
19 or 20, I guess. But yeah, I remember like he always tried to book me over the years. I would always get a message or a phone call from him like every couple of years, and he would want to book me, and I would give him my price, and that would always end the conversation.
That would be, that would do it.
At least 10, 15 years that happened, at least. Um, and then one time, you know, he was saying, well, you know, we're going to be doing some things. I see a spot for you here at TNA. And he came out here to Las Vegas, and we met at the Nerd Bar. And he had a spiel to give me. And he was saying, you know, I see you as being like our new Sting, you know, where you're the veteran. You know, we don't have to work you to death or whatever, but boom, boom, boom. And at the time, like my back was bothering me, you know, and I let him know I was up front, you know, like, you know, I'm right now, you know, I'm a little banged up. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. And we had a good talk, you know, and obviously it went well because I got hired and was there. And in the end, looking back, what is that noise? Oh, that's on the other side of the wall. Looking back at the deal, forever how long I was there. At first, you know, it was it was my standards, my terms. Then they brought in and Sabu was there, and they brought in Katie, and then I was like, wow, they're really trying to, you know, make me happy and stuff. But then in the end, when we were done, we were just done. And looking back at it, you know, like how was Scott to work with? It was like fine, you know, but I feel like both of my runs with TNA that they respected me too much to talk to me.
Really?
Yeah, so I never got feedback on if they liked what was going on or anything. I remember shortly, right before I finished up there, you know, and then they were just like, we really don't have anything else for you. And I didn't have a deal, so it wasn't like I was let go or anything. It was always, every week I figured it was going to be my last week. And Scott would say, all right, well, we'll see you at the next tapings in October. I'd be like, okay. Like I always thought that they weren't using me in a way that they would get their money back out of me, from my opinion. And so I never put too much faith in that, you know, being a long lasting thing. But in the end, I mean, I don't know, like, don't know even how he felt, you know, whatever. It was more just, he was always cool to me, respectful, and like, hey, you know, more like just one of the boys though. Like never was I ever given that I can remember any like direction or, hey, we want you to, you know, help build this kid up or whatever. Boom, boom, boom. It was always, you know, just let me be me.
Go and do your thing, so to speak.
Yeah, there was one time I asked a question to Scott, and it was like my back was bothering me, and someone just introduced me to White Claws. So
really?
Yeah, comment below. I know I'm a pussy, but well, without name dropping, you know, someone had gone to the store and gotten some, and I was drinking a few of them, and I was watching the matches. I think I'd already worked, and I was critiquing them like I do at home, you know, like boom, and I asked Scott that time, you know, I said, do you want me to, you know, if I can see things that could help the guys, you know, to like say things to them or not, or that's not something you expect from me or whatever. And he was just like, he gave some like real shrug off, no answer, you know. And I didn't know how I felt about it, but it's like, but we were gone like, like maybe 2 trips later. It was like real quick afterwards, we were gone. So me and Katie joked like that, but it was something where at the next day or taping, I guess it was the next day, whatever, D'Lo actually said something to me and said, hey man, you can't be you can't be drinking 100 White Claws in the dressing room. And I looked at him and I was just like, so many mixed feelings. And I was just like, I'm just going to let him say that. He was told to say that. And so I was just like, okay, you know, I wasn't going to argue it or whatever unless it went any further. And then he was just like, okay, this is me telling you. And he left. But man, he was talking to another wrestler that was drinking beer in the exact same room. And if I wanted to say something about it, I could have been like, hey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But that's all I got to say.
Do you think they brought it up because it was White Claws? You were drinking White Claws?
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I really don't know.
I like White Claws. I don't care.
That was the first, and maybe last time I drank them. I don't know. But anyway, I was like, man, if someone could do a beer run, like, I can't remember what, I think it was my back. Something was really hurting me. Used to always be my back. I don't know. Whatever the reason was, I was just like, all right, this dude's doing his job. He was told to say that. Okay, you told me. I think I might have said that.
Yeah.
So this is just me telling you. But then I almost want to say that because he's talking to somebody while they're drinking a beer in the same room the next night, and if I wanted to make a big deal, I could have taken a picture. But anyway, not really much to say. Scott's just always been cool to me, but I don't really know what it's like working with him, except very, very passive from my perspective.
Yeah, you do hear a lot. I mean, you mentioned the letter and stuff that got written and everything. And there has been several times where it seems like Scott was the big proponent that TNA still is alive at this juncture, because like there's been so many moments where they've been dead in the water, and then they keep coming back, and then rebrand was all him with the TNA. Mm-hmm.
When I was with them in 2010, 2011, 2012, there was always a rumor that was going to be their last week. They were going to be shut down, way back with Panda Energy funding it, and then everything. I was like, okay, I'll let you know when my checks bounce.
Yeah.
That's it. Never happened.
That's it. But yeah, and then there was some rumors that he made a play to buy TNA actually before he got let go.
I understand that his family is pretty well off, and I guess that was something, a realistic option for him to consider, was to buy the company. And yeah, from what I understand, it seems like maybe he might have saw this coming and thought that would have been a better option that they chose not to do.
Yeah. And then on top of it too, you mentioned it, like you kind of giving advice to wrestlers after that you see their matches and stuff like that. That's pretty good value right there,
Maybe not. A lot of veterans just take it upon themselves, and I don't. I definitely don't feel obligated or feel like they're obligated to listen to me. And as has been discussed a lot of times with AEW, some of the guys that are even veterans above me that I grew up watching say that they don't get asked, by the young guys to watch their matches or advice or whatever. But then I do, someone took that part from our podcast, left out the part where I said, but I do. And that's the point of it, is that, that goes a long way. Like, I'm not going to go up to somebody and say, hey, I noticed, when I was watching your match, I mean, really, that could be taken as rude, That could be like back when Raven told me in 96, you know what you need? You know what's keeping you from being a big star? A ring jacket.
A ring jacket?
Yes. That was his advice. Like, thanks, buddy. I'll consider that.
You just start coming out in a denim jacket?
I don't know. Some advice is unwanted, and I personally have had enough unwanted advice through my years of resisting conformity and sticking to my guns enough to appreciate the value of someone that says, hey, if I want to hear from you, I'll let you know.
Do you think that's an overall kind of thought process in the business too? Is like, hey, it's almost like when somebody's kind of working out or something like that in the gym, some people think it's like a faux pas to kind of almost come up to somebody and tell them what they're doing wrong exactly. Is that kind of the overall mentality when it comes
to Yeah, I think so. And I really think it has to do with the individual's personality on how much, if they're more of a internal, keep to myself kind of person, or if they're, someone that's more outgoing. I think that has a lot to do with it. And also, I think for a lot of people, like that respect that they feel like they earned by putting their time in is all they got.
Yeah.
And we've talked. Me and Katie have talked about wrestlers that some of them, man, they paid their dues. They put everyone over on their way up, and they thought it was just supposed to automatically pay back and it'd be their time someday. But for whatever reason, whether they don't sell tickets, they're not marketable, they're missing that special something, whatever it is, they don't get a chance to either make big money, to be a big recognizable star, to have some of the benefits that go with their dream. So instead, all they got is that they're a veteran. All they got is that they've got, 15 years in, they've been on TV getting beat by the best. And so for them, that means everything. So they're going to be wanting to come over to you and make sure that when you look at them, you're looking in the right direction, and that's up.
Yeah.
According to them,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely a kind of a different mentality for it too. Yeah, well, you did mention
entitlement.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
But you did mention it back on Dynamite this Wednesday, and you in that triple tag. It's you tagging up with Hangman Page, tagging up with Hook. So Choke and Smoke is back in business, and then you're going up against Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and oh my gosh, Brian Cage. Everybody you have a history with at this point now, Rob.
What's so funny to me about this is on social media, more than anything, I feel like I've seen surprise, and people are like, how random and out of nowhere. Like, what? This match doesn't mean anything. Tony sucks. And what's funny is if you listen to every interview I've done since my last TV, I said, well, I think I left them with something where they got to bring me back for at least a tag match, if not, an 8-man, because I think isn't Swerve part of like a 4-man crew or something?
He's got the what's the name of that?
Nana.
Yeah, Nana's there, and then he loose ties with Brian Cage because I think Nana manages Brian Cage as well.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. Someone told me he was part of a 4-man team. Maybe it's 3, but either way, it made perfect sense to me. Cage, did you guys not see Cage come in towards the end of my match and push me off the top rope? Like, you don't think I want to go get him back for that? And you haven't seen me in hook tag, but anyway, it makes perfect sense to me. And so they booked this. Well, I guess when did they book it? I don't know. At least a week ahead. Enough time for me to call Joe Holland, my airbrush artist, and say, Joe, they called me again, dude. And I'm thinking, he's been doing my outfits forever. You know that? Like since the very first airbrushed outfits in '95.
Wow, yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, and they just gotten better, more elaborate. I got so many of them, and he doesn't like me to wear them more than once if I don't have to. So I'm already thinking, man, he's busy. I've been getting him to kick him out. Now I've had 4 AEW matches, and I think he got me a new outfit every time. So I don't want to press my luck. I was thinking like maybe I'll wear that white one again that I wore with Hook, and boom, guess what he sent me? So
you got it already.
Unveiling, if that's the right word. I think that's the right word.
Unboxing. So, these YouTubers like the unboxing, Rob.
The opening of the box. I ripped it open. I haven't seen the outfit yet, but I was ripping it open. We were talking earlier, and now I'm pulling out the color of yin and yang, black and white.
Ooh, all right.
And lots of detail on that. I got to make sure I look tan as fuck to wear white. Man, you can't even tell it's white, though. There's a lot of paint on this one. Holy cow. That one looks fucking sweet. Whoa, what? Dude, I love it. Yeah. Are those dice? They're dice.
What? Oh, sweet. Yeah, look at that.
First, I thought they were ghosts or something. And
oh yeah, I see the dice. Oh yeah.
It's more apparent. I think on the back I can see some of the square edges.
Dude, that's badass.
Bam. Fucking A, dude.
Heck yeah.
Rolling the dice, rolling thunder. Sweet. Thank you, Joe Holland, as always, helping me still impress the fuck out of motherfuckers.
How long?
Looking good, standing still, looking even better when I'm moving.
So how long does it?
Like
So
that,
when did you
baby?
notify him about that? And then, so how long did you think that took him to do, or typically make a outfit like that?
Man, that's a great question. I think he got that done in a day. I don't know how much of that day he spent painting. I don't know if he does more than one coat. I know a lot of it, the important part is drying.
Yeah.
He just made an outfit for Katie, got it all done. And then while it was drying, he bumped something hot that's like an iron that fell over on it and burned a hole in it. And he was so upset about it and still is. But sometimes that happens. I remember that happened to one of my outfits back in ECW too.
Yeah.
And that's, man, I don't know. I did not think I'd be doing it this long. I told Joe years ago, like, well, I probably got enough outfits to last me, you know, like chances of me going on TV and needing to look real fresh. You know, I got a few that are still decent. I can wear them a couple more times, but bam, you know what? I read something I really liked from a fan, and they said that this year is going to be maybe RVD's best year.
How about
And
that?
I thought, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
I got a lot of momentum going off the first month of January already. You know,
Things are cooking.
people are seeing there aren't too many people with my physical abilities and my knowledge and my experience, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's something you can't take from me. Well, unless you break my legs maybe or something, but don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. No, there's several people here in the chat saying they can't wait to see you, Anesha.
That's right. I got to open up the chat. And by the
you.
way, Katie Forbes is a champion as well.
That's right.
Yeah, she won the UWW championship last weekend, right, baby?
Yeah, congrats, Katie. That's awesome.
Congrats, baby.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, hey, this could be the year of Katie and Rob happening here, 2024.
Fucking A, man. It feels good. Got a lot of good stuff lined up. Some stuff, just like always, that I can't even talk about, that I know people are going to be excited about. And not to mention, man, I really enjoy filling up my schedule. I love being an independent worker, you know? Like, I love when people call me and they're like, I got two bookings that are probably going to happen at marijuana dispensaries, you know, and that's something that might open up like a whole new thing, which you know, I've done, but usually that's like a different industry. So it's like, well, when I tell you what I get, you know, my fee, I don't know if you're still going to be interested, you know, I don't know what you're used to, but anyway, I forgot what I was going to say, but a lot of stuff working out. Something I was going to say about industry, about a dispensary, about weed.
Being independent, like being independent.
Yeah, I do. I love that. Just, you know, filling up my schedule, working out my own terms, and it's like there's always like that argument about how we're treated so badly because we're treated like independent contractors instead of employees, and I always stand on the other side of the fence. You know, I'm one of the only ones over here. There's got to be somebody besides me. But I'm the wrestler that looks at it like, hey, I understand business. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You want to add a union, and then to what? Like only to WWE or to everyone down to UWW? Right. You know, not everyone can afford it, obviously. But and what's a union do? From my opinion, being somebody that swam upstream against all odds, made it to the top, fighting for everything I believed in, fighting to control my own pathology and make every correct choice to get the life where I'm at right now and now get the rewards. And you're saying you want to what? Even the playing field? So when guys start out, they get treated better. That's going to be a hard sell to me, bro.
Yeah. there's a lot of elements that go into play with that too. Is just like, yeah, if you get if you have a younger talent that already has that established, it's like there's that missing aspect of not being able to pay your dues, and then you run into that issue what you were just saying, where it's like those smaller promotions, they're not going to be able to handle like a union kind of thing that they have to worry about.
No.
That's an added turnoff for a lot of younger companies. I could maybe understand the value of like a huge company like a WWE maybe doing something to that effect, but even that kind of has.
And yeah, and if anyone listening to this conversation hasn't heard me talk about this before, and they're feeling like, well, no, wait a minute, it'd be better if they at least had health insurance. I always win everybody over with this. If you disagree, leave a comment. I've never had anybody disagree with this, but dear viewer, I'm going to hire you. Whatever. I'm going to hire you to paint my fucking house. All right. We're going to work out the terms. I want you to sign a contract that says you won't paint any other house until you're done with mine. Is that fair? Yes. Well, boom. You already just shot down the argument about, but you can't work for anybody else when you're a wrestler and blah, 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 blah. No, that's how it is. But that's not even where I was going to go. That's just a point along the way. But here's the point that I want to say. Would you rather I pay you X amount of dollars a year and I will cover, a basic minimum health insurance package, or would you rather I pay you X dollars a year and you find your own insurance?
You find your own insurance that fits you. Yeah.
Everyone I ask agrees with me that it's better to have control over that. And if you don't want insurance, guess what? You're not forced to anyway. But anyway, I love being an independent contractor. It's always worked for me. And I'll let you know when that changes. It used to be like when I left WWE in 2007, and I was like, I went on my sabbatical. That was scary. I was just telling Katie about this yesterday. As I'm filling up my schedule with these bookings, I was afraid it was scary as fuck. I was taking a step of faith, walking off a cliff blindfolded. That's what it felt like. And I kept saying that, like, I just think something's going to be there to catch my foot. But I don't know what it is. And I've been under a guaranteed check for so long. And now I'm going to leave on my own and not know where my money's going to come from. And I don't want to even fucking wrestle anymore. I mean, cause I was so burnt out. Yeah. And I was like, bro, it's not like I'm like everyone always brings this up that Matt Hardy says he's set for life. He said that 20 years ago when he was 15, you know what I mean? And hey, I don't live on the Hardy compound with their dad. It costs a lot to be RVD. And anyway, I love doing business, and that's like, damn, now I got spaced again talking about Hardys. What was I talking about?
You liked, the fact that just being an independent contractor, and then, oh my gosh, I'm trying to think too, Rob.
You know why I got spaced? I want to talk about Jeff Hardy. You saw him get kneed in the face.
Yes, right? Yes, with Sammy Guevara did the
man,
put the knees up. Yeah, that was crazy.
That's why they call it a high risk move. I'm not throwing shade on anybody, because accidents happen. God knows I've potatoed enough people during my matches. But that's on Sammy completely. That's a high risk move. Way back in, like, I guess my whole career, I've always done the 450 into a bump. I know if I landed on somebody, I would kill them and I would kill me. I can't control that. But when I first started doing that, 91, 92, or I guess maybe even before I even got into the business, I don't know. But anyway, but I know I've got footage of me doing it in Japan in 92. Before I went to WCW, when Too Cold Scorpio was doing it, I thought he copied me. I'd sent them a demo tape, and I thought that they showed Scorpio and gave him my moves, and I was pissed because I'd never seen anybody do that. But he was landing it. And I would do the 450 if my target's rolling out of the way, because the chance of me hurting them is almost 100%. So when you are doing flips and twists and all this stuff, the more you add to it, the higher risk it is, which is why the reward is greater. You get a bigger pop, whatever. But you're taking that risk, and and it's a high risk. So when you fuck it up, it is on you.
Yeah.
Just like if I try to do a springboard off the top rope and my foot slips, damn ropes, they're fucking oily. It's on me.
Well, what was the?
Hopefully, Jeff will be okay.
Yeah, I think he got
Pretty
a
solid.
broken nose.
Yeah, broken nose
He's
maybe.
okay, though. I think he's okay overall.
Concussion.
Yeah, I see. That's a good question. If he got a concussion or not, that's what I'm not sure about. But yeah, you talked about what was the one move that you were doing that you were like, oh, I got to stop doing this because it's hurting people too much or something like that. There's like a.
Yeah, I used to do a double underhook front.
That's what it was.
Suplex.
Yeah. That's what.
I very rarely had anybody take that right, and they'd hurt their knees or their face or whatever. And yeah, and another reason I stopped doing it is because I thought it was like so much bigger than the pedigree, and so I thought that out of respect, I don't want to say, hey, here's an extreme version of the pedigree.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Hey, we almost got 100 people here live in the chat. Guys, thanks for joining us. If you guys want a question asked, be sure to use that super chat, chime on in. And hey, if you guys haven't already, while you're tuning in, please hit the like button. That helps out with the algorithm. Be sure to leave a comment too, and hit that little bell, that subscribe button, so we can get more word out about the pod and the show and when we go live and all that malarkey. So
yep, I'm also by the way, I got the doors open today because you said it was freezing there, right?
Dang it, you're rubbing it in.
Yeah, 70 degrees here.
Dang it, it's like 24 here, Rob. I was in a wind chill like 18 degrees. It's awful.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Pretty nice out here.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, we have some sponsors this week. This week's episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. Let's talk about sex. Guys, remember the days when you were always ready to go? Now you can increase your performance and get that extra confidence in bed. Listen up, BlueChew.com. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but in a chewable tablet and at a fraction of the cost. You can take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of the licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part? It's all done online. So no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the US of A and prepared and shipped direct to your door in a discreet package. Oh, you could be missing out on the best sex of your life. So Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And we've got a special deal for listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RVD at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. Promo code RVD to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Wow. So, hey, baby. Yeah. Sounds like Blue Chew needs us to round the ladies up and do a commercial for them.
I think that's a good move.
We'll get you thrown off of Twitch.
There we go. Jeez. Well, kind of a neat aspect about that triple tag match coming up, Rob, is you're back in the ring with Samoa Joe. And I happened to, right before we started recording, I went back and watched your first ever match with Samoa Joe. It was on Impact, and it was July 8th, 2010. Wow. Yes. And it was a non-title match. You were the world champ at the time, but it was a non-title match. You guys went probably about 20 minutes or so. And you guys had immediate chemistry. Like, you started off and you two were just slugging it out hardcore. And some really cool spots that you guys delivered. The finish actually ended up being you pulled the trick from Bret Hart WrestleMania 8 where Samoa Joe had you in the sleeper hold and you used the turnbuckle to flip over and get the 1, 2, 3 on him. So
and it works. Cool.
Pretty good finish.
Cool, man. Yeah, when you've been doing it as long as me, it's hard to find a trick that you haven't pulled out at least once or twice.
Yep, exactly. But too, another added aspect was people in the crowd. There were some old ECW guys that showed up. Raven,
Rhino, Dreamer,
yep.
Stevie,
Look at
Raven.
Sports Jacket.
The Raven's back.
That's Raven's back. Yep, that's him. All right. So,
damn, all right.
do you have any memories of that? Does that charge up any memories of that, Rob?
No, but I guess it must have been a build up for when we brought back the ECW on TNA, which was awesome. I enjoy. Hey, happy 420, by the way. Sabu just texted me, but I'll tell him next week's better, I think.
Yeah, that's totally fine. We can. Yeah, we'll for him.
He texted me at 420. I'll give him a happy 420. He won't understand it if it says 421. I better do it now. But that was cool. You know, having ECW come back is a reunion, and they changed the. I guess it was hard justice. I guess before, so they changed it to hardcore justice.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. I guess they did that twice though, huh? Because I wrestled Sabu once, but then I also wrestled Jerry Lynn in that Metal Mayhem match. Were those both ECW reunion shows? I
think so. I think they did. They kept Hardcore Justice around for a little bit.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Anyway, fun time period. You know, I always loved ECW. I love the hardcore element, Extreme Rules, ladder match, whatever it takes to throw the rule book out and use my imagination and durability to my advantage. So that's, you know, I think about that's awesome, and it validates all of our efforts and time in ECW by giving us the stage to showcase it again. I mean, that was awesome. Those TNA, those Dixie Carter like stepping aside saying, here, you know, we got this platform, go ahead, you got, you know, have your reunion, and that's what it felt like. So still stoked to think about it.
It's pretty neat too, and even during that match there was some ECW chants going on, as you could imagine.
Of course.
Yeah.
Which that match you just showed?
Yeah, the one match I just talked about, you and Samoa Joe. Mm-hmm.
Oh well, yeah, well there must have been, because I'll tell you why, because Rhino, Raven,
yeah,
Tommy Dreamer, and Steve Richards were in the crowd.
Yeah, that was definitely the reason, I think.
Pretty sure.
Yep, pretty sure. Hey, we have a
but anyway, yes, Samoa Joe's awesome, by the way. Yep. You know, and it doesn't seem like that long ago to me having that match. So when you put the year in like that, then it makes sense. Then it's like, wow, okay, so I guess 14 years ago, that's a pretty big chunk of time. You only get so many 14-month blocks of time in your life.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of weird to think that at that time you were the TNA champion, you beat Samoa Joe, and now he's the AEW World Champion. You're in a match with him, so the tables have turned, so to speak. So pretty cool. You guys are on the opposite side of the ring again.
Fuck yeah, and that's cool. Yeah, like you put it that way, because like, what? I haven't paid my dues. I don't deserve to be up there in the main event with the heavyweight champion. Are you kidding me? I'm not bigger than this company, bro. Don't make me go Vince Russo on you, bro.
Bro, don't make it happen.
Looking forward to it.
It's a good match coming up. It'll be neat to see you and Joe mix it up again. And hey, the year of RVD potentially happening here. We got who's to say?
I might even get Hangman Page back for giving me that dirty look when he walked by me after a match. I don't know if the camera got it or not. I don't think it did. But after my match with Swerve, I started to walk up the ramp, and then boom, the light came on. Hangman's starts coming down, and I went, fuck. And so I went back down the ramp, and I just went around the corner to stand off to give him the space that he needed. And I just had my hands on my hips. You know, I was bummed that the referee counted 3 with RVD's shoulders. What rhymes with E? That sounds like canvas or mat. Nothing. Anyway, you know, I was still like, you know, like bummed that I didn't win the match. And he walked by, and he stopped to like give me this look, this dirty look, like RVD, you lost. That's not what I told you to do. That's what his eyes said to me. And I keep seeing that look in my head. And I'm just thinking, I just might get him back, even though he's my partner on Wednesday. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to leave him hanging and not tag in when he's in trouble, but I'm not saying I'm not either.
You know, you can get him a bit of an education, I think, when he's.
I might find a way. I might find. Hey, it may just universe might just fit something in there. You know, I understood the assignment. I nailed it. I crushed it, and he was only one count away from. He was only one count away from the match continuing anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's it. And he was a split second away from the 5-star with a chair on top. So that's it. Yeah. Hey, did you see that too on social media? Somebody was like, you should steal Prince Nana's weed coming up, apparently.
I mean, I saw a bunch of that the first time, like when the match was announced or that night or whatever, and I didn't understand it. And at first I actually wrote what's a nana or something because I didn't know, you know, like, and I still don't know what they were talking about. Like it seemed like, I mean, I saw enough messages to where I thought there was an actual story, some bullshit that didn't happen, but they might have just been joking. I don't know, but I saw like a few questions and responses that made it seem like someone had said that I stole his weed or whatever. But anyway, but I know that dude. I guess I didn't know his working name, didn't put it together at that moment or whatever. But anyway, you know, what if I did smoke with him?
Yeah. Who's to say you won't? Who's to say you won't?
Who's to say I didn't is what I'm saying.
Oh. How about that? Hey, we do have a super chat. Boom. Super chat coming up.
Super chat.
Where's it at?
Super chat.
Gotta pull it up. Okay, here we go. Corey Donovan, thanks for the $10. He says, will you be at Big Business in Boston or a meet and greet? You're my top 5 favorites of all time. Last time I saw you was Money in the Bank in Boston. Amazing performance. You still look great. So there you go.
Wow, thank you for
Big
that.
Business in Boston. That's an AEW event coming up.
Oh, is it? Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, at this time, I don't know if I'm on that. So can't confirm. Doesn't mean that I won't be there. I'm not booked at this moment on that, but a lot of these bookings happen 2 days before they happen. And I don't know if it's because guys are injured or what, or if it's listening to the fans or just who knows. Either way, I'm glad to be in the opportunity that I'm in, you know, to just be on standby. And like when I'm able to make it, then it's awesome. And it gets a lot of excitement going. Shit, I'm inspiring the hell out of people that thought your body falls apart at 30 too. So that's a pretty cool position to accept as far as like, if I'm going to, you know, everyone always asks, what's your legacy? You know, as far as leaving something behind now, if you asked me a year ago, I wouldn't even thought of that. You know, every time someone says, what's your legacy you're going to leave behind? You know, I always say, if I understand that question, right, I hope that people learn to be themselves and not worry about having to fit in with others whose values don't match yours, and don't worry about questioning, you know, what's wrong with me? How come I'm not into that same shit? And I think it's stupid that those guys are into, because that's how I am with 99% of things people are into. But anyway, now I think that's all changed. I mean, just from the feedback, what I stand for right now, at least temporarily in a lot of people's minds that have mentioned my name in the last 2 weeks, they think of, holy shit, 53, healthy as fuck. And I knew that, you know, but to inspire people and impress upon them a positive thing like that, that also hopefully gives them hope for themselves. Certainly gives me hope for them that they'll look at their lives a little different if they felt a lot more limited than they should. So now I think that's probably going to be part of my legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you just the simple fact that you have the foundation of stretching and putting that into your making that such a huge aspect of your wrestling acumen, and then later on coming up and then just like showing that you're very still capable of doing everything that you're still able to do. You still look great and everything like that. It just kind of further sets the bar for a lot of those other veteran wrestlers or people that want to keep that longevity in the business. So, and
Yeah,
that's
no,
very
that's true. Shit, if I go after the AEW championship, say I collect that fucking gold and add that and become the only wrestler to have held the WWE, TNA, ECW, and AEW championship. I mean, I do shit like that. I'm always finding new ways to stand out and be one of a kind. Imagine if that happened, how inspired people would be in general to think they grew up watching me decades ago, and then here at 53, they're seeing me prospectively, maybe having the best matches or the best year of my career. Even if they could just look at it that way from a small point of view, it's that's just amazing.
That is. And you know what? Hey, no better time to have that maybe potential title match happen is at the 420 Collision. You got announced for that coming up, the AEW Collision 420.
Yeah,
What a
that
better
is.
time to go up against maybe Samoa Joe if he's still the world champ at that point, or somebody else. Who knows?
And the Collision is the weekly show that's on Saturdays.
Saturday.
Okay.
On
Yeah.
Saturday. Yep.
Yeah. They must have something in mind to have booked me this far ahead of time for that very special date. But I've been booked and unbooked several times already in the last like 3 months for that. And so it's like, I am available. That just got canceled again. So cool. Looking forward to it,
Yeah, man.
And by the way, as far as it's not hard to find what perspective personally, what angle to take to look at this as being the best year. I mean, there's always the perspective of business, of what it's like for me, being compensated for my time and controlling my own schedule. And those are things that, although I don't talk in detail about as much, are obviously the most important when it comes to me handling my own business. So, there's always that, I mean, let's just say I did a lot of matches in WWE to make up for a much smaller number of matches now. And I mean, I don't know how detailed. I mean, I think I even like said something recently open about it, but anyway, you just wouldn't believe it. And if you knew, then you would think right now I'm definitely living my best life. If you compared, say, 66 matches to 5 matches, let's say, from actual history,
Yeah.
and then you would say, holy shit, like that's really hard to believe. But I'm just telling you that, man, I really like being an independent contractor. And I'm happy with all the choices that got me here where I'm at right now. So if I can inspire other people to live the best lives they can, then fuck yeah, I'm all about it.
Heck yeah, dude. And like even last week, you gave advice on how to like what your diet is and how your workout regimen. And then on top of it, we get the RVDology at the end of every show too. So it's just like, boom, if you guys want this kind of stuff, Rob has it for you right here. That's it.
That's it, man.
That's it. Hey, we got another super chat. Ooh, another super chat. It is, let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to pull it up. Seamless transition here. Comments. There it is. All right. There it is. Wait, that's not it either. A DP 1997. Thank you for the £9.99. Rob, are you in WWE 2K24? If so, I'll pre-order it right now.
Man, I get asked that question a lot. And I don't know.
There we go.
Which is Common.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to make me, I can't turn my back on synchronicity because this is how the universe communicates with me. All right. The 66 matches I was talking about was my return to WWE in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
I did 66 matches in 90 days. I had a 3-month contract, 66 matches, and I knew what my guarantee was. Was I going to beat my guarantee? I mean, that's a lot of matches. You would think that the guarantee would be low enough, but it was so questionable. Every day before the show, when people are working out in the ring, I'd go up to Mark Carano. And I'd be like, dude, what's up, man? Is it am I gonna break the guarantee? Because just being there anyway, what it depended on was I gonna be in WK 215 or whatever the fuck they called it. Mm-hmm. That year's video game. And Mark Carano would tell me every day, he'd be like, you know what, you joined he said you joined right after they cast everybody for the game, but I don't think it was too late. I think they might have added you on it, but I'm not sure. And he would say, let me find out. And so I would keep checking with him every day, and that was what was going to depend on if I beat my guarantee or not. Was if I'm in the video game, I'm going to beat my guarantee. If not, it's going to be right about neck and neck, which means if I got injured and stayed home for the 3 months, I would have got paid the same as I got paid for the 66 matches. And I'm telling you right now that if you can imagine, if that was what I was getting paid for 5 matches now, then you would imagine I would have a pretty happy mindset now, not wishing that I was back in the day. And that's a lot to take in. And I know life is amazing, but you work for peanuts because you work so much that it all adds up in the end. So I signed a year deal for before, a year at a time, 3-year deals. And anyway, if you like, I said last week, I talked about, they gave me $500 when I first went there and worked Johnny Stamboli, Johnny the Bull in Atlanta. And I got $500 and I was like, I can't. That's when Pat Patterson had a talk with me in Mellon Arena. You're going to make a lot of money here, kid. And it's like, dude, like I said, add a zero on that. I was making that before I got here. And now I'm in WWE in front of these huge crowds, and you're going to pay me that. And the thing is, one, the money does come up, and the bigger star you are, and the more they decide to pay you. But also, the other fact is, if you're working 250 days in a year, then even that 500 ends up being 125 grand. At that pay, you'd work your ass off for that 125 grand, and then when it comes to hotel pay and shit, they're sketchy about that. And anyway, that's all part of the job. But Mark Carano kept saying, I think you're in it. And then, no, I guess you're not in this year's video game. I don't know until it comes out. And so I wasn't in that game. And so what I made for those 66 matches was the same that I could have made for staying home if I was injured. Like in 2015, when I injured my knee. Was that 15? No, I'm sorry, 2005. I saw the 5. But when I injured my knee and I was off for 12 months, one of my favorite years of my whole career. And that's because I made my guarantee, which I would have made working, I don't know, 300 days that year.
Right.
But anyway, as an independent contractor, I can, with WWE, when you get booked, when I say you, that's generally speaking, but a lot of us, when we get booked, it's not about the payday. Whereas usually it is. That's how we make our living. You know, you want me to come and wrestle for you. You know, this is what I need. But if WWE says, hey, are you able to come in and announce the fucking draft picks or whatever? You know, for me, it's not like, okay, well, let's start negotiating. Okay, here's what I need, because it's not that big of a deal where, I mean, they could probably just replace me with someone and say, okay, never mind, because they already have a budget figured out, whatever they're going to pay you if they pay you. And it's, you know, it's not even about that with them normally. Mm-hmm. Although it would be, unfortunately, it wasn't for me when they had me come back to my first Royal Rumble after I left way back in 2007. When I did that following Royal Rumble, that's exactly how I felt when they wanted me to come back. I did this big surprise. And for me, it was like, you know, it's not really about the money here. So I didn't stick it to them, but I should have, because it was a really big appearance. And because they would have paid, because when I left, our pay-per-views were really decent, you know, paydays, and they were almost every month, pretty much. And instead, my ego took over, and I was like, I'm going to show Johnny that I'm not hungry out here without him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stupid. When I look back at it, you know, I definitely could have got 3 times, 4 times what I got, but I wanted to show, you know, like, yeah, I can do that. Sure, no problem. And later on, you know, when I get booked, it's just about that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So now it's a lot different. But WWE pays you, or at least they used to. I guess it's different now. And I hear the guarantees are much higher now and they're restructured completely different. But it used to be, you know, like if you looked at the guarantee of what you'd get at the end of the year, I'm going to at least get that no matter what. And then, you know, that's how a lot of times you get kicked in the balls along the way on live events, especially when they're doing A, B, and C shows, because they're drawing smaller crowds. They're split up too much. And that's why they stopped doing that, you know. But yeah, and I didn't know when I first got there that sometimes the checks would be much bigger. So that was something I didn't feel like I had much control over. I had some control. I say I like being an independent contractor, but it really depended on how much balls I had. I could have at any time gone to the office and complained or suggested we'd make some changes or whatever. They always would have been open to that. I'm not saying I wouldn't have got heat for it, or that a lot of other wrestlers would have gotten a lot more heat than I would have for it, you know, but that doesn't make it an employee-employer situation in my mind.
Right, yeah. And to your point about like the video game, I think Kev Nash was just asked that about the same thing. Is he going to be in 2K24? How many outfits or something? He's like, I had no idea. He had no idea either. So it's an ongoing thing kind of thing. And yeah. Whoa. Rob, we already have another super chat. Boom. Super chat. Another super chat. Where is it at?
Tommy Dreamer is now the head of TNA Creative. Is that a fact?
That is not a fact. Here, we'll get to the super chat in a second. Here, so that initially got reported. Dave Meltzer reported that in the latest Observer newsletter, but then Tommy Dreamer himself on Busted Open Radio actually has this quote.
Debunked it.
He debunked it. He says, "Oof, I'm so glad people know things about my life that I don't know." He's like, "Thanks for the promotion." He's like, "I hope I get a raise with this fictitious position, because if I was head of creative, you know, Moose is losing the TNA World title to me at whatever next show is." And he's just said, "It's the same deal as always before. It really and truly is. Nothing has changed within the creative process. Thank you very much." So,
did you have that prepared? You were going to say that or something?
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Okay. And did he say if he's head of creative that Moose is going to lose the championship?
Yeah, that's what he said. He's like, "Moose will lose the title to me coming up the next pay-per-view."
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah. But hey, I did want to ask you just
was that the super chat?
No, that wasn't the super chat. I'll hit the super chat.
Because I just picked a random one, and so I didn't know if the super chat matched it or not.
You know? No, he's got a. Let me see. Okay, I'll ask that one. That'll actually be a good segue into what I'm. So, how do you think Tommy would be though as a head of creative? Like, he's got a great mind for the business. So
I think that he would be great at it, because he's office material. Some of the guys might surprise you, that aren't normally office, but really understand the business well and have a good brain for it. They could do well. But someone like Tommy, he's got experience like in the office, helping set up programs, book shows, everything. You know what I mean? Like from handling the merchandise, he knows what he's doing. I'm not saying that his work wouldn't be critiqued, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't critique it. I'm not saying he wouldn't come up with some silly shit that would make me roll my eyes. But at the same time, he would do a lot of good as well.
Yeah, like, there's all those aspects. Like everybody's got their own creative. Like you think about Triple H heading creative right now, and then Shawn Michaels, who we're going to mention here in a second, he's creative down in NXT kind of aspect. And then there's just a lot of good minds going, but not everybody's going to hit every time, too. There's going to be something that everybody has some differences with and so forth. But Tommy overall just knows what the hell he's doing. So he's like one of those good foundation people that you could have in that kind of position.
Yeah, he cares about that side of the business and always has.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, so the super chat here, Ice T He. Thank you for the $10. He says, okay, so he mentions you and Shawn Michaels. You guys have also put on both your best matches at the later parts of your career. Shawn was 10 years younger than Rob is now. How about that? So when Shawn Michaels came back and did all that wrestling and stuff like that and kind of had that renaissance, he was 10 years younger than you, Rob.
So he was like in his young 40s and they were treating him like he was old.
Yeah, right?
Wow, man, times are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I keep hearing, like 70s the new 50, 50s the new 30. And you could take that as if like, oh, that's just what people say when they're older so that they feel younger. But really, I expect there's going to be some major announcements in the future years about how we're living too long, probably, and it's probably going to be a problem that because expectations always go up as our education on nutrition and health and medicine, antibiotics, everything. Just the more advanced we get, the longer we're able to extend our life. And now we're able to like clone body parts and shit when we need them. So it's when it comes to all that, people sometimes think like you're crossing the line and playing God, when you genetically create your baby and decide what color eyes and hair and all this stuff ahead of time. And some of that stuff gets weird, but just the fact that we have the ability to do that, it has a spillover effect. We're just the average person with the average life. If they're not living out in the middle of the jungle or the desert, but hey, we're in the middle of the desert, but if they're surrounded by society like we are, man, their living conditions are going to offer a continuously extended duration. Yeah.
It's the times we are living in. So the question he does ask, though, and I think you answered this before, Rob, do you think you'll ever transition into booking?
Do I think I will into booking?
Yeah, you.
I don't think I will. But whereas maybe I used to say never, now I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's something that interests me, but then it might be something that I have a skill that could come in useful at some point, maybe, but I don't plan on it. I don't foresee that happening, but I do know that I've got a lot of experience, a lot of life, and a lot of things that were on the table in front of me, but not necessarily right in front at my place. A lot of that stuff has circled around throughout the years, and stuff that used to be background interest found its way into my life, where now it's important that I paid half-ass attention to that stuff because now it's relevant, and that happens. And I'm going to be alive for a long, long time, so there's no telling what kind of occupation and positions I'll come across.
heck, and like some of the stuff you've mentioned on here, whether it's like a hypothetical or certain aspects that you've gotten from like the Sheik or Sabu and stuff like that, I think you'd be an excellent part of like the creative team of giving some input and seeing where things could kind of go and stuff like that too. So,
maybe.
yep. Hey, another super chat. Boom.
But I will say, like I've always looked at that position as like a suit and tie kind of position, and
Yeah.
and I always look at that as like former wrestlers that wish they could still wrestle but can't do it anymore, and so the young guys feel like those agents or bookers are above them, like they're in a position higher, like a superior, and I never have because I got the same ring time and I can still do it. So I look at it more like I don't have to look up to you because I can beat your ass.
FYI.
So, but I don't know, maybe, but I have mentioned that before. I used to look at that as like a stooge position, but my perspective is changing. Like I'm always saying, it's so silly. I got brought in thinking people that try to get ahead by talking to the writers or suggesting ideas or whatever, in the locker room mentality, in the hoods that I associated with, those guys, were ass kissers and stooges. You don't trust them, and they're office people. It's part of the silly, sporty part of being dumb jocks, I guess. Because looking at it as a job in the corporate world, like if you got ideas to tell the boss that could advance you, why wouldn't you tell them?
Yeah.
But it's taken this whole lifetime for me to arrive where I'm at now and be able to look at it from a bigger picture. And those same morals though are still inside me of being that being one of the hoods that opposes the suit and ties or the Stooges or whatever. There's certain things like Bob Holly's always going to be Bob Holly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have that inside of me. I as an effort of reprogramming myself, like I'm always talking about doing, I'm able to have a much wider and more accurate perspective of everything.
Right. Yeah, you learn as you go, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Super chat, a new one. We have Corey Donovan. Thank you for the $5. If you had to rank your runs by the company, number one being your favorite, what company did you have the most fun in? WWE, TNA, or ECW? So if you had to rank those 1 to 3, where were you having the most fun? I think I know what number one is.
Yeah, it's definitely ECW. You gave me the standard to use there and made it easy. If somebody asks me to use my own standards and choose which was my favorites in what order, then I have to set the standards. The most fun was ECW. Biggest money was WWE. And when I went to TNA, that was the easiest. It was my annual guarantee there was pretty much the same as WWE, but I only had to work like 2 days every 2 weeks as opposed to 5 days a week or whatever. So that's how it goes. I had the most fun, partly and mostly because of the awesome style, but also because of where I was in my career and that point in life, and so, that the young years when you're still finding out who you are and still making a name for yourself, those are really fun, but I wouldn't want to repeat them.
Right. So if you were to rank them all by fun, it would be number 1 ECW, number 2 maybe TNA, and then number 3 WWE, or?
I would probably put I would probably switch WWE and TNA around because just because it was easy doesn't necessarily mean it was fun. And WWE had a lot of stressful parts to it, a lot of really monotonous parts to it, and some of it was very, very challenging, but the fun parts were also like really, really fun, and the opportunities and places I've been and things I've seen and stuff like that. Where so like with Impact, it was it was fairly easy. It was cool that we're still on TV and they were trying to build themselves up, and it was cool to be part of that and stuff. But I didn't enjoy as much working with younger talent that, in my mind, were already dry cement.
Mm-hmm. So you didn't think they had like more upward ceiling kind of thing at that certain aspects?
I feel like overall, I felt like the vibe was that a lot of them felt like they were already there and felt like they should be a competition with RVD. Boom, we should go 30 minutes neck and neck, or I should win. Yeah, I felt like the whole thing was like, like, who are these kids? You know what I mean? And it was, and not 100%, but overall, I felt like that more. And like I said, even back then, they weren't talking to me, the office. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. They let me do my own thing, and I think they felt like they'd be insulting me if they told me anything. If they even said. I mean, they would tell me good things. Like I remember Dio telling me he really appreciated that I took a lot of time and worked with Xeon.
Oh yeah, Zema Ion.
Yeah, and he always tells me that too. That I'm one of the guys that really helped him in his career learn a lot because I took time with him. I enjoyed working with him, and they would Dio tell me about like that, but not about like what they wanted from me or anything. And anyway, I don't think that I would think of. I guess most of the fun of TNA was just walking around Universal Studios.
Yeah. Checking all that out.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. Corey Donovan with another super chat. Thank you again for the $5. He said, Rob, have you ever talked with Tony Khan about being more consistent on AEW and having a set schedule, 20 dates a year or something in that aspect? You kind of like the situation you're at now, but I knew you mentioned too before that you weren't necessarily against maybe having a more schedule with AEW. But what are your thoughts on that overall now, Rob?
So I have not had the discussion with Tony Khan. When I first talked to him about coming in, and this was a long time ago, because it would have been. Well, they were doing a show in or near Battle Creek in Michigan, but I ended up not coming in for that one. That was at least 2 years ago. I can't remember the date right now, so I don't want to get it wrong because I'm not known for putting false facts out there.
Yeah.
If I do, I try to correct myself in the comments.
Yeah.
I called dude out here Buffalo Bill instead of Buffalo Jim. I apologize to Buffalo Bill.
Okay, yeah.
Wrestling promoter / mechanic / mafia thorn in the ass. Anyway, I haven't had to talk with him, but way back then, he was talking about. I think that'd be a great way to bring you in, in Battle Creek. And I was like, yeah, cool. And then he was talking about, I checked with WWE, and at the time, I said, I think my deal is just merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Lord knows you guys aren't fucking calling me, are you? And I didn't say that, but I was thinking. Anyway, they checked. They came back and said, you're right. Our deal is just merchandise, so you can wrestle for AEW. And then I said, cool. And then I talked to Tony, and I was giving him an idea of how I felt about my merchandise deal there, because it was worth bringing up. That's what I have to lose. You know what I mean? That's my deal with them. I have that. If they're going to be jerks or whatever, or decide they don't want to promote me, because whatever. At that time, he talked about he had a few guys that were injured, and he thought maybe it'd be cool to just, bring me in when I'm able to work, help them out like guys I heard or whatever. And I said, that sounds cool. And then boom, didn't hear anything from them again for ever, 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months. And it just didn't happen. And then I was just like, okay, whatever. I don't know. WWE did the same thing. They called, checked on some dates, and then just boom, like whatever, part of the job. I don't mark it on the calendar until I know, and I know because I'm holding on to something in my hand. And anyway, finally, it was Jungle Boy that reached out to me and said, that he'd been talking about doing this program, boom, boom, boom. And that was many months later. And I think everyone knows the history since then.
Yeah, how about that? And then the wheels started turning there. So sweet.
Yeah.
Rob, did you happen to see The Rock turn heel? More heel on SmackDown this week.
No, I almost clicked on it, but for whatever reason, I chose something else. I'll probably watch it later.
It was very entertaining, Rob. He came back in his like $500 shirt, as you can see there, and like just was classic Attitude Era Rock, basically. They were in Salt Lake City, so he was trashing Mormons and their inbred grandchildren, like doing all this classic Rock stuff, and it was pretty fun to see. So
now, do you think that could hurt his movie sales if like really ignorant fans are like, well, he's a jerk now, I don't like him no more?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so, because it's like right now too, I don't know if he's in any really big productions at the moment, so by the time WrestleMania rolls over and everything like that, it could kind of maybe all wash away at this point. So I don't think it might affect him too much in that regard. I was thinking that too, honestly, though, but I don't think it will. What else was I going to say about that, though? Dang it, I can't remember. But Blue Meanie actually had an interesting theory that The Rock is healing it up in front of Roman Reigns because he's going to pull a fast one on Roman Reigns. He doesn't like what Roman Reigns has done to the bloodline, to his Samoan legacy and stuff like that, his family legacy. He's going to pull a fast one on him, help Cody out. So kind of interesting. There's been some context clues perhaps that indicate that too. So it was pretty interesting to kind of think about. But yeah, it was neat to see The Rock back. So yeah, you'll have to check that out at some point.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
I like the little thing he did on is it Pat McAfee? Is that
the Cody Crybaby stuff?
Yeah, I popped at that and I was like, I loved it, and I keep saying that when someone asks, "How do I feel?" I'm like, I agree, Cody Crybaby.
Yeah.
I've explained that on here last week, I think.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah.
He mentions that though too in the promo on SmackDown. About, like he's like, you had Roman Reigns and The Rock at WrestleMania. You had it and you let it go. And he's like, you flushed it down the toilet, just like you do when you sit down there and you're texting, "Oh, Cody's got to win. Cody's got to win." It's funny shit.
We want to hear his story.
Right? Yeah, that's what he was saying. Cody's got to finish his story. It's very funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good shit, man. So, what else do I want to talk to you about? Oh, yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago too. With CM Punk, he got hurt, and then he actually talked about getting hurt, and then the process to that. So he's like, so this was in an interview for UFC last night, I think. Yeah, I can't remember the network he was on, Fight Network or something like that. But he says, I'm like an old car. I'm like a 72 Nova. You know what I mean? We have to change some parts every now and again. So
who said this?
CM Punk. This is CM Punk.
Oh, okay.
So he tore his right triceps, I think, that right now, and then a couple years ago he tore his left tricep. Might be the other way around, but either way, he's like, so once we fix up all the parts, the engine is still strong. We'll still be good to go. We're thinking maybe 6 to 8 months for his time of recovery, but I'm not really in a rush to get back to compete. He's more so concerned about just getting healthy. But it made me think about what you were saying, like, how there's that impression like, oh, he's fragile or whatever. And that's not necessarily the case. It just might be wear and tear on the body, maybe not wrestling for a long time. And, once he gets back to it, he could be good to go. So,
and there's always just the chance. There's always just a chance that anything is going to fuck you up. I mentioned I broke my ankle the first time I remember getting hurt. Well, actually, the first time I broke my foot, I forgot about this time, but it was just a hairline fracture. It was just my base foot on the ground while I did a high side kick. I kicked Pistol Pez Watley at a house show, and my foot on the ground, it slipped on like some spilled beer or something. When it did, just the way my foot flexed, it gave me a hairline fracture. And but with that, I just felt like, okay, I'll shake it off in a few weeks. When I broke my ankle in my match with Rhino in ECW, it was just a baseball slide, the simplest move, but my one underneath foot somehow caught the canvas and rolled underneath my weight and momentum, and it snapped my and it broke. And then there's so many people that told me they've done the exact same break from doing the exact same move. And so, it is a very physical job, and there's always a good chance that anything could end up just going half an inch this way or half an inch that way and making the difference of being hurt. And by the way, can you imagine if you wrestle 200 matches a year, can you imagine all it takes is getting hurt probably 2 times out of 200 matches and you'd be labeled fragile? That's the kind of pressure we have on us.
Right. There's all these expectations, and it's like when you talk about the video games, and the fans play the video games all the time, or they buy the action figures or whatever.
They get hurt and get right back up, right?
Yeah, they get right back up. That's not how wrestling actually works. All these people you guys are putting your bodies on the line and everything like that.
Yeah, we really are superheroes, though, and it really is for the super tough.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody tries to discount that unless they get into it and have 1 or 2 days of working out in the ring and then realize it's not for them.
Yeah. And it's sometimes it's a matter of like ignorance, and that's in the literal sense is like, you think about some of these pro athletes that come into it and they're like, oh, I can do this. This is going to be easy. And it's not easy.
It looks fun, I guess. That's why I wanted to do it. It just looks so fun. But also I thought I was tough as a kid too. Maybe not before I started watching wrestling, though. I think wrestling brought that out of me.
So you think when you started tuning into wrestling and stuff like that kind of got you more to like?
I think maybe so. I don't. But I mean, I was also into martial arts movies, even before, and I would run up the trees and do backflips and try and imitate the moves I saw. So maybe not. I guess when I think back to it, I always felt like I could do some moves, but I wasn't like athletic, and I wasn't, fighting until after I was practicing all the wrestling moves and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about that. All right. Hey, guys, just so you know, this episode is also sponsored by Get Blitzed. Get Blitzed. It's a THC Lit Aid. Get Lit Aid, nano-infused THC syrup that is 100% legal in all 50 states. There's so many different flavors, from pina colada to cherry to key lime pie. I know that's Kevin Nash's favorite. There's a few more flavors, too. It's sponsored by Mickey Ray Sinatra and his wife, Courtney. You can get 15% off now. Go to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD, or if you're watching, there's a QR code that you can scan right there and getblitz.com. So yes, 15% off, promo code RVD. Check it out. I can't wait to get my batch after my cat stole my first batch. So I'm ready to rock and roll and try it out myself. So
nice.
All right, Rob, we'll close it out here with a couple other notes here. This is not a super chat, but I thought this was a really interesting question. I want to see where you weigh in on this. Baccarat Nashroll says, would you rather have teamed with the Rock and Roll Express or the Midnight Express?
Well, let's see. The Midnight Express was Bobby Eaton and
Stan Lane.
Okay, is that Stan Lane? Okay. Yeah. And then the Rock and Roll Express, is that Jannetty Michaels?
No, that's Ricky Morton and
oh, right, yeah. That's what came up in my mind when you said it, and then I forgot already.
Yeah,
Ricky Morton and what's dude's name? The dark-haired dude? Yeah, Robert Gerson.
Yep.
I see those guys at every convention.
Yeah, they're there.
By the way, I was impressed to see Ricky wrestle last year at Starrcade. He was like,
Yeah.
he's in his 60s, right? And he was like still moving. And I was like, damn, man, he's still out there doing the arm drags and stuff.
He's doing Canadian destroyers and shit too.
I hate that move.
I know, I don't like it either. I really don't. It's so weird looking. It doesn't look natural. It just looks weird.
To me, it represents the whole new style.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's the one move you think of when it's like modern wrestling and what's kind of
when I think of the two guys working together to get the spot over, even though it doesn't look like, even though they expose the business by actually doing the move, and I don't really know which guy's taking it or giving it. They both do both. It's
yeah.
I hate it, but I know it gets good pops. You know, the crowd goes crazy.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan either. Well, where would you think you'd line up? Rock and Roll Express?
I would go with the Rock and Roll Express. I'd rather be with them just because I know those guys. We've been at a lot of venues together, whether it's wrestling or autograph conventions or whatever. And man, Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton, although I do have limited experience with both of them, I don't know them, didn't know Bobby as much, and or Stan. Is Stan still alive, right?
Stan's still alive, yep. Mm-hmm.
But Bobby passed, right?
Bobby passed, I want to say 2 years ago.
So when I think of Bobby, I was in WCW at the same time as him, and I had a match with, I feel like I might have had a match with him, but I've never seen it. Maybe. That's a question for YouTube, Chris.
Yeah, I'll have to get him on.
I feel like I did. I just remember parts of, yeah. Huh. But anyway, I remember having the issue of having conflicting advice coming from the different veterans, and Rip Rogers was saying that I waste my moves by doing too many out there, and I should just do one kick at the end. That way it means a lot instead of doing all this flying kicks and spins. And I was like, man, that sucks. That's not what I want to do. And I remember asking Bobby, and Bobby, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I liked him because he took my side, and he was like, no, that's your gimmick. That's your gimmick. No, go out there and do your gimmick. He can't tell you how to do your gimmick, And but I feel like that was when I was going to work Bobby, and I kind of remember him backdrop made me land on my feet. So I feel like that might have happened. But if I've ever seen that match, it's only been once ever, and it would have been 93. So someone check that out. Yeah, wow.
I'm intrigued, Rob. I'm going to look it up. That'd be pretty darn nifty. Bobby, he's known as
Stan Lane, by the way. Might as well spit this out because that's what the podcast is. It's just me talking and telling stories, but I love it.
Yeah.
I love the things that are ignited in my mind and then sharing them because nobody fucking knows this. Why would they? Yeah. But so when I went to South Atlantic Pro Wrestling in '92, this is after. Whoa, wait a minute. 91. Sorry. Oh. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, this was after my USWA run had dried up. Synchronicity. We talked about this earlier when we don't have anything else for you. And then I went up. And then I went, I called Slinker, who was down in Florida, talking like he was going to open up. And he's like, well, I'm not ready yet. He says, call my friend Manny Fernandez. He's opening up. He's got this thing in South Carolina. Boom. I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I worked South Atlantic Pro Wrestling for a very short amount of time. Super young. Like these memories are baby memories. I can't believe it was like the first time I'd ever driven that far by myself from Battle Creek down there to Charlotte, North Carolina. But some of the guys that were cool, like Jeff Husker, his name was Gino something, but Jeff Husker, Tommy Angel, these guys, I remember being in the car with them, riding around and stuff. And they were bragging about Stan Lane I don't know who Stan was working for at the time. He wasn't working for South Atlantic, but he was already a bigger star, bigger than all of us. And it was just cool that they knew him because he lived local. And for whatever reason, we were going over to stop by his apartment. And we did. And on the way there, I just remember they kept telling me, Stan is the king of sluts. He's the king of sluts. That's what they kept telling me over and over. And so we went there, might have had a drink or something, or maybe he ended up going with us to Plum Crazy. I think that's what happened. But while we were there, I was 20 years old, not even old enough to drink legally. So I just remember like, wow, looking at his bachelor apartment and looking back at it, you know, it was small. It wasn't, you know, like a huge mansion. It might have been, you know, I don't know, it might have been 1,200 square feet, might have been smaller. But what was really cool was all the furniture was like black leather, and everything was black. And I just thought that looked so cool because I was just so young that, you know, the only thing I knew was how my mom decorated, you know. And so I just remember thinking like, wow, goals. You know, when I got my own place, I'm gonna have like a black leather couch, black bookshelves, a black TV stand, fuck yeah, black carpet, and I always just remember that, and I did. Like that did inspire my first several things, and even now, like Katie loves black, so that's really cool because we often will choose that as a decor option. But that's my only Stan and Bobby Eaton story.
I like it. You know, did you hear the urban legend that he was the like father of that senator, I think, or whatever her name is, Marjorie Taylor Greene? Like there was that there was like a report going around that he could have been her father, like her legitimate father. That it ended up not being true, but it got around on the internet for a while.
He was the king of sluts.
The king of sluts. Yeah. Oh, what a moniker that is.
Yeah.
Jeez. Hey, we got another super chat, and then we'll close it out here, Rob. Boom. It's again by Corey Donovan. Thank you again for the $9.99. He said, when you made the jump to TNA and now to AEW, do people already there, like former friends / colleagues such as the Hardys and Jericho, Big Show, etc., influence your decision to go there? Did that kind of influence you or intrigue you a little bit to go to AEW, Rob? Or?
That's a good question. I would have to say not on the front, you know, as far as like if Tony would have called me and wanted to arrange a booking, it's very likely if the terms were worked out that I would take that booking. But you know, when I really searched my mind, I'm sure they were an influence on my opinion of AEW because, you know, there's some veterans, guys that are my age that are there. And I appreciate that they get respect there. And knowing that definitely made me a lot more optimistic about being there. I would love to work with Jericho, Christian, Edge, Big Show. That'd be awesome. You know what I mean? But not just work with them, but just the fact that they're there. Because if it was just a bunch of new young guys and I didn't know any of them, and their goal was to say, screw traditional wrestling, we're here to say, screw the old way, this is the new way. I probably couldn't really get behind that much because of my old school fundamentals, you know what I mean? Like, and so when they first came out, I was like, okay, well, let's see if they're able to prove themselves. A lot of people come out really strong and say they're going to be the next thing. And then, boom, right off the bat, they were drawing big crowds like out here. I don't know if this was their first show. It was one of them, I think, out here in Vegas at that Double or Nothing or whatever it was. There was a Starcade attached to it. and it was just so big, and for not being WWE, and then it seemed like, boom, they're doing it. But then there was always still the young guys that I can tell haven't been to places that I've been, you know. Like I said before, when you go to WWE, young guys, they all get taught, whoa, slow down. You know, you're not selling anything. Make it mean something. And when I watch my pre-WWE stuff, I see that. But people that don't have the whole bigger picture might not prefer that. They might prefer it when the guy takes a pile driver, then stands up and turns around and feeds into a super kick, takes a bump and stands up and turns around and feeds into a DDT and stands up and turns around and then feeds into a Stone Cold Stunner for a 1-2 kick out. Personally, that's not what I like about the business. That's if that's credibility, then I don't understand the new translation of credibility. And I think a lot of people are there with me as well. So I'm going to say, ultimately, it was a factor. It was a factor in how I felt about it. It never got down to where I had to write all the pros and cons and struggle over a decision, because it was just a booking, just like any other booking. And really, that would have been what it was all about. Although I felt a lot better about it and still do, seeing people like me. And by the way, when I was trying to describe TNA and I was saying I felt like a lot of those guys hadn't been there, but they felt like they were there enough already, and I felt like a little to me, I don't feel like I had earned enough respect in their eyes in order for them to feel like they were on my equal level. And that made everything different. Talking to them, going over matches, everything. If that makes sense.
TNA when that.
If that makes sense. I like when people add that little quote to really say it made sense to me. But if you can hang with that motherfucker,
then you can.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, geez, we did get another super chat here. Thomas V, thank you for the initial $2.79, and here's your question. Thomas V, thank you for this $6.99 in Canadian dollars. You live your life to the beat of your own drum. Any advice on how to stop caring about what others think of you and just do what makes you happy?
Absolutely. That's fucking, dude. First off, study RVDology. If you haven't seen that, if you go to my YouTube page at The Real RVD, there's a playlist called RVDology. And although it's been, I've only done one in the last several months, I think about it all the time. I think about all kinds of stuff that I don't do. That's why I know I'm going to be around for a long time. I got so much on my agenda, 10 years worth of projects. But I'm not desperate to get any of them done. And that's a pro and a con. But overall, it works for me. When you got something and you really, I got to get this done, man. I got to get this done. I got it turned in. I got to get paid for this. I don't know, how am I going to make rent? Boom, boom. I hate that desperate energy. And, I talked before about when I left WWE, I was walking away from having gotten a guaranteed check for years and years. And now, because I didn't even finish that story, now I love being independent so much. It would feel somewhat controlling if I wasn't, if I had a guaranteed check and schedule and obligations, it would feel restricting in a way to where it would have to be worth it, which of course it could be. But I wanted to add that on the end of it too. Like I feel that. So, RVDology, I break down like all of my values, and they're all equal. They're all like amino acids that together make one big protein of nonconformity. And you have to reprogram yourself as an adult. If you haven't taken the time to do that and you still think Santa Claus is real, then that's what I suggest. What I did when I walked away from WWE, my spirit was sick. And right now, if I'm angry, my spirit is sick. A lot of people are angry all the time. For me, I need to adjust. I'm not healthy. When I could, it's like being ill. Like I could go to Katie and just be like, I'm angry. Something's wrong with me. I'm angry. Like I'm gonna go off on somebody, and that's how it feels. Like I feel sometimes I feel confrontational. Like I don't want to be around people. Like this is dangerous, and a lot of people just work with that. I can't have that energy be part of me. And the way that I control that is I put my spirit first. So you got body, mind, and spirit. It sounds cliche, but what I did was I really did some self-studying, and I realized I had the mind, and I'm always improving on learning stuff. I enjoy reading, whatever. I can point my mind at things that I need to absorb. The body, okay, that's part of my lifestyle, always has been. I work out. I'm always learning better ways to increase my efforts to be healthier. But my spirit was sick. I was so burnt out on the monotonous travel schedule. I felt that everything I did was worth nothing because they were killing the ECW after they revived it. I felt like everything I was doing was just starting to put me in a deeper and deeper hole because I had a real life outside of the job that you neglect to do this job on that schedule. And so everything, I just needed a break. And what I knew what I needed to do was work on my spirit. That was the priority. So one of my values is priorities. Look at your own priorities. What's the most important to you? List your own priorities. That's going to help you right there because you got to know yourself in order to make changes. You do. And also to notice the changes. But so when it comes to priorities, my spirit became more important than anything else because I didn't say I'm going to let my body go to shit. I just knew I already got that. Let me go ahead and put that on cruise control. Let me put my mind on cruise control. Let me focus on my spirit. Why is there so much negative energy? How do I get it healthy again? And you know what? That was 2007, and it's still my priority. So, yeah, so I make decisions sometimes based on that. Is this gonna bring me happiness? And then I weigh out, is it gonna do irreparable harm to my body? No. Is it going to do irreparable harm to my mind? No. I mean, if it's something like I'm going to quit working out and just eat ice cream, obviously, well, that's not a healthy thing. But if it's something, for me, it could be, a drink. It could be like, hey, you know what? Just like it's meant to, this drink is going to lift my spirits. What's the downside? There's not really a big one because I don't have the issues that other people have where they drink too much. They're alcoholics. Their priorities change. That becomes their priority. I don't have a, where it's going to interfere with my life like that. So if it elevates my spirit, and I weigh out what else the harm is minimal, boom, that's how I make my decisions and stuff. So when I say to not worry about what anybody else thinks about you, think about what's important to you. Think about who's important to you. Think about how important it is to you, how other people see you. Throw that on your list. Which, that's your image, the image that you put out there or how they translate that. And both are important in how you're seen by them. But, and ultimately, this was our videology last week was get your validation from yourself, not from others, because that's where the true pressure of conforming comes in. And I will for my lifetime resent trying to fit in as a kid and not knowing, what shoes are the cool shoes to wear. And, how come I can't afford a big red sports car like the other kids, and just the whole thing it's such a waste, in my opinion, to put your energy on that, unless that's important to you. For me, the way that people see me is still important, but not in that way, not in a fictitious, in a materialistic way like that. So instead, man, I take a lot of pride in when people say I'm a good guy or I'm honest or they trust me or I'm genuine, I'm down to earth, one of the coolest people they met, or if they talk about my physical attributes and say I'm the best wrestler ever to do it in the business. You know what? It's important to me that people see me in a good light. But if they're going to base whether I'm good or not on the clothes that I wear, then that's just not important to me.
Yeah. How did you get your spirit right? Would you say when you really focused on your spirit? What what kind of steps did you take when you?
It's just prioritizing, and it's like paying attention to my own vibration, and staying away from the negative things, and spending more time on the things that make you vibrate in a positive way. I mean, for a lot of people, it could be their favorite music, could be a favorite movie. You could just have go-tos that like boom put you in that mood. But if you sit around and you mope all day, that's a negative vibration. It's not good for your spirit. You're not going to get any better. You know, they say time heals all wounds, but it's also because with enough time you got to learn to stop telling yourself that same story over and over and over again. Oh, I'm so fucked. I'm so fucked. You know, it's like, yeah, okay, you spend enough time telling yourself that. Now let's get a different story, because there's definitely different angles to look at everything. So for me, I mean, like I said, I haven't reprioritized to where, you know, maybe I'd be a lot more jacked if I was like, boom, body's most important, getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning every day, working out for 2 hours. But instead, for me, I wake up and I'm like, I got to be in a good mood. I want to drink coffee. I want to have my doobies. I want to get my vibration right. That's my spirit. And it really, all three of them have to be aligned and have to be in working order to be whole. And I'm amazed that I never paid attention to that until like 2007, 2006 or whatever. And a lot of people don't as well. They just don't. Maybe they don't even know they have a spirit, but it's so important. And when you're out of line, it affects everything, and it keeps you from being connected to your own path in life. It really does.
Man, Rob, that's great stuff. Little Jane even says, RVD speaking some facts. Holy shit, man. I really needed to hear this.
Awesome. That's great to hear. That's great to hear. So we know we're not wasting our time, man. So yeah, that's the thing is I still, my spirit is more important to me. And again, you know, I work on my mind. I work on my body. I got that going, but my spirit, it's like constant work, always trying to improve. And I'm always trying to, as the song says, get a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's it.
It has to do with increasing my spiritual vibration, because the higher my vibration is, the better me I am. The happier I am, the better I feel, but the better version of me I am. And I've been trying to explain that for years. And you know, I think this is a good way to put it. So that's how I do it.
Nice. I remember DDP telling the story too when Jake Roberts, when he first got him into like his, I can't remember the name of the house DDP called it, the accountability thing or something they called it. Either way, he was saying that when Jake was going through his struggles, he was always wearing negative T-shirts, like with negative quotes on them and stuff like that. And DDP was like, change that shit off. Change it. Like, you want positive in your life. You want all this stuff. And like he got rid of those shirts, and they put like it was just another thing that made you gotta think a positive attitude kind of thing about that.
Yeah, when you think about it in the most simplistic terms, that's like manifesting physically the world around you by literally placing or taking away things that are either positive or negative.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I'm not good at negative energy. I'm not good at being angry. I'm not good at being sad. I'm not good at being worried. And these are things that I don't struggle with. I accept them, and I'm okay with that's me. And I think people look at really who you are. And I'm not saying, find an easy excuse to not work on things that need work on, but I am saying that, for me, like I'm late. I'm always fucking late. And I'm not saying I couldn't change that. I know there's people listening to this. They're like, right there, that's a sign of someone that's not willing to grow. Dude, fuck it. I'm saying I am habitually late. I'm not good at judging time. I am in the ring. I can go out there and tell you when it's 14 minutes and fucking ring the bell. But when it comes to I got 5 minutes left till I got to leave, in my mind, I think I still have time to go brush my teeth.
Yeah, I'm that way too.
Change my clothes. But I've been like that always my whole life. Like I was the last one on the school bus. I wouldn't wake up until I've only got 20 minutes to grab everything and leave for the school bus, and then I'd be the last one. Sometimes I'd miss the bus once in a while, and I'm the last one on the plane very, very often. The only one in the business that ever competed with me on that was Jeff Hardy. We were always the last two on the plane every time. Anyway, get to know yourself. Look at your own priorities and write some stuff down. Think about how important things are in comparison to other things. What do you want out of life? And all that stuff, man. It's amazing to do some self-exploration, and then you come out to realize a lot of what you do, it makes a lot of sense. It never made sense before. It's like, oh, no wonder fucking, no wonder I'm never there on time. It's not as important to me as rolling a doobie.
Right.
For example. But yeah, cool, man. Glad I could help. And I think we covered a lot of RVDology and a lot of everything in this episode.
We really did. Yeah, we had a couple super chats sneak in too. Unsweet Tease says, "Hey Rob, curious if I ever watched Californication. Sometimes you come off a little Hank Moody-esque. I've never seen it. Great show."
So. I wonder how so, but I loved it. I watched every single episode.
Hey, there you go. Sweet.
Yeah, I was living in California, so I really liked all the scenery. They would show all these scenes like, dude, I just rode my bike there at Venice Beach, and and it was really entertaining. I like David Duchovny's character. I like the daughter, the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to compare me, but that's cool. I'm trying. I'm thinking of his vibe, and maybe it was a California vibe. He was a writer. But it seems like he spent most of his time not writing, drinking.
That's usually what writers do.
Partying, looking for girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
that's usually what
I take that as a compliment.
Yeah, there you go. And then Corey, I can answer this one for you. He says, "Sorry to hold you up. I don't know if this is an option, but how could I get in touch to discuss a possible interview and prices, etc.? Email me, Corey, at dpdangelo." My last name, DEANGELO. That's DP as in Paul D'Angelo at gmail.com. And you can inquire about me. I can try to handle that for you and see what happens. So cool. Rob, this was a great episode, man. This was a lot of fun.
Cool. A lot of ground. Yeah, it usually is. And we got a peek, first peek at this outfit, which will be appearing along with the whole effing show and these muscles, which, man, they're going to be even bigger by Wednesday. And hey, do you think that when we swear it affects the algorithm? Like everyone?
Yes, I think it does. I've been hearing that more often now. So, and I know Conan's podcast, they bleep out all the cuss words in there.
The stuff I watch with the police and courts and everything, they don't say kill, they don't say gun anymore. You think it's better to do an editing program, or you think maybe we should stop swearing, or we should just keep it real?
Well, I gave up swearing for Lent, so I'm good. But maybe not, though, because sometimes I'm sure I swear. We could try. I'm going to look.
I'm noticing whenever I swear, like as I'm doing it, I'm like, fuck, I just said another swear word. Fuck.
I didn't think it did, to be honest. I didn't think it affected it, but I'm hearing it more and more that it is affecting the algorithm. So, we're going to do I'll do some research, and we can make some adjustments moving forward. We'll see how it goes. We do have another $5 super chat real quick. Oh, she just said, Little Jane just said, much love to you, Rob Van Dam and Dom. Thank you for being awesome.
Awesome. Right on, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, enjoy doing these things live. I'm glad we thought of doing that and then actually spending the real time with them, and everyone else can watch later.
Mm-hmm. Guys, you can check it out at RVD's YouTube channel if you go to at the Real RVD there on YouTube, or go to our new YouTube channel, rvdtv.com, We have full episodes drop every Monday at 4:20 p.m. Then we'll have exclusive clips. I got some more plans coming forward. We'll see what happens with that. But rvdtv.com, like, subscribe. Definitely do a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And yeah, just spread the word, guys. Spread the word. It's been a lot of fun. Rob, we will see you now. Hey, kick some ass this Wednesday. Lay the hammer down. Whoever you got to do. You
know? Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe. Oh shit! Friday's the 23rd.
Friday is, I believe. Wait, next Friday.
Yeah,
I think. So, oh yeah, it would be.
We have to do it. I guess I got to do it Thursday, the day I get back.
We could do the weekend again, or we could try Monday, that following Monday again, if you want to do live on Monday.
Let's plan on Thursday.
Plan on Thursday.
The 22nd.
22nd.
Even though I'm traveling and I'm tired and dopey, what's the difference?
We can make it short if need be too. So
right, that's always an option. But
always
these people keep us going though.
I know they keep us cooking.
The Rob Van Dam fam. I appreciate the questions and the conversation, and I'm stoked that we got our music back because that puts me in the right mood when I hear that, and then it plays in my head like for hours afterwards. Yeah. And now it reminds me and Katie and Dee of our trip to Hawaii because we played it a lot there.
Did you got? That's awesome.
Yeah, we would just get the phone out and set it down on the table if we were out somewhere hanging out. Okay, so the chat time is a different time zone than me, obviously, because
yeah, I think that's my time, Eastern Standard Time, 8:40. Is that what's showing up on yours?
Well, I haven't got back to the. I'm at 4:30 right now.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I gotta scroll away.
Further down, then. Further down would be.
There's the super chat you asked me. I beat to my own drum. Yeah, I've always heard that, and it's like it's something that obviously for me, that's one of the most, that's as far as my priorities and the way that people see me, it's important to me that I stand for being different. I don't know why. I guess I'll have to dive into looking at why is that so important to me. But I guess because I resent forced conformity so much. It's so stupid, and I'm not into what you're doing, and like I don't care if every other boy in the class is breakdancing. If they look stupid to me, I should be able to have my own opinion to think they look ridiculous and think that I shouldn't have to be forced to do that and look stupid too. My opinion should be valid. And I guess that's what it is, but it's always been important to me. So when someone says, that I'm definitely one of a kind or whatever, I always think like, good, I'm glad that people see me as that, because when I look at the status quo, I don't want to be that.
No. Rob, you're the first to make me aware of the dance face. So now anytime I see somebody dancing, I immediately check that out and be like, all right.
If you point it out to them, they'll be insecure about their own dance face forever.
Right.
Why do you do that? Why do you do that?
Why, guys?
Swerve.
Swerve. There we go. All right, guys. We'll see you next week here on One of a Kind with RVD.
Boom. Bam. Watch me Wednesday.